Hey everybody! So as a Versus series maker, I naturally get suggestions for future matchups. Although my channel is tiny in comparison to the members of the Council Force cast, or even my good friend Sci-Fi Soup, I still receive tons of suggestions. Some of which are fantastic ideas. But trying to do tons of Versus videos can really burn a guy out. They take a lot of time to create. So I thought this would be a cool way for me to acknowledge a few of them, and give you my thoughts on these matchups. Please keep in mind that I can't go into descriptive reasoning, otherwise we would be here all day. Also, if you've made a suggestion in the past, and it's not in this list, well then I apologise. These are just the suggestions that stood out the most to me. And most importantly, please keep in mind that I may possibly still do a few of these as full-length videos, so if you don't want anything potentially spoiled, don't watch. Now let's get started with number 10. Ben Kenobi vs Asajj Ventress. We're starting off with the most recent suggestion that I've received at the time of writing this script. This is a match that I feel may possibly be closer than a fight between the two with Obi-Wan in his prime. Not because of any inability on Ventress's part, but due to how much I actually respect old Ben's ability. While we don't have much on the canon version of Ben yet, his dueling skill still impresses me enough, considering who he has faced, and the opponents his enemies have faced. As for the edges, I give Asajj physicality, more so for her speed and agility, and her greater sustainability. Dueling is a blur for me, and I can see an argument being made either way. I again lean to Ventress for the Force, for a better demonstrated uses of its power. Overall, I would consider Ventress the victor for a 7 out of 10 majority in a solid fight. Number 9. Exar Kun vs Sora Bulk. This is a match that I was planning to do for a while, but it never came to. While I don't hold these guys in as high esteem as some other Versus makers, I do think that these two are a great match for each other. I don't see any real advantage to physicality, Exar possibly being stronger, with Bulk being more sustainable and resilient, while both being comparable in speed. I don't see much of a disparity in dueling, though I lean towards Bulk for his showings over Qilin Boss and Thom. I am uncertain of who I consider more powerful, but I would give Bulk the edge given how frequently he abuses his power and keeps his foes off balance. I don't think of close lightning as something he would try to exploit, given how he's only used it once, in a scenario that was drastically different from the circumstances of a lightsaber duel on even ground. Personally, I feel that Sora Bulk wins in a solid fight for a 7 out of 10 majority. Number 8. Thom vs Xanatos. This again is a match that I had my heart set on, and one that has a stronger possibility of still being made into a full-length video. I personally consider these two as near equals in an overall comparison. Xanatos takes an obvious physical edge, being more sustainable and notably stronger, though Thom is to be respected in this area. As for dueling, Xanatos' ability to challenge the likes of Qui-Gon Jinn impresses me just as much as Thom's ability to contend with the likes of Sora Bulk, so I feel that a lightsaber duel could go either way. Force powers really blurs for me. Xanatos has a higher potential, but potential does not equal combative ability. Their skill of applying their use of TK seems comparable enough, and the same being said for their use of Force Cloak, Xanatos remaining hidden from the entire temple, and Thom being considered to be unfindable unless he wants to be found. The verdict on this one is a blur for me, though I do feel that Xanatos could win through his greater sustainability for a 6 out of 10 majority, a verdict that may seem to be a bit of a cop-out, but it's the only one that comes to my mind as of now. Number 7. SpiderMan vs Deathstroke. The first crossover in this list. This is one that appealed to me as I find it more interesting, rather than close. As I've said to some of my subscribers in the past, a good fight doesn't make a good Versus video. Sometimes it's better to use a good theme, or just compare two drastically different characters. I find this one interesting because Deathstroke is the underdog here, and he's infamous for performing well against opponents who outclass him on every level. And with that, I do think that Spidey is better in every category, bar weaponry, but I don't think that the fight is a total stomp, and Deathstroke's unorthodox and somewhat unpredictable tactics could give Spider-Man some trouble. As for the majority, I see Spider-Man winning for something around 8 to 9 times out of 10. Remember, a high majority does not necessarily mean a big advantage. Number 6. Vizsla versus the Grand Inquisitor. I am honestly surprised that I haven't done a non-Force user versus a Force user yet. This one is another one that I lean to for how interesting I find it, but I also consider it to be rather decent. I see the Inquisitor taking physicality, thanks to his Force augmentation, if anything else. While he does have a better lightsaber, Vizsla has a greater plethora of killing tools, and a greater ability to attack from multiple angles. As for skill, Vizsla's ability to hold his own against even a non-Force augmented Darth Maul is more than enough for me to believe that he presents at least some challenge to the Inquisitor in a lightsaber duel. But it is the Inquisitor's use of the Force I feel secures his victory, courtesy of both his power and application. As for the majority, this is another match that I would rank as a 7 out of 10 win in the Inquisitor's favour. Number 5. Zane Carrick versus... who? While Lucy Andre has, and always will be, my favourite character from the Knights of the Old Republic comic series, I've always enjoyed any moments featuring Zane. Zane strikes me as a character who is not clumsy like Jar Jar Binks, and is instead hapless, reminding me a lot of Abe from Oddworld. I couldn't think of a match that appealed to me, so when a list of opponents that included Barriss Offee amongst the candidates was presented to me, she instantly stuck out. For lightsaber dueling, Barriss' ability to briefly contend with Anakin and hold an edge over Ahsoka simply impressed me more. Barriss strikes me as somewhat more agile, while Zane appears to be more durable. For Force powers, I see Offee as more skilled in her use, while Zane could be argued to be more powerful, so the edge goes to whichever you consider to be more useful. For the final fight, I see Barriss taking a slim 6 out of 10 majority in a considerably close fight. Number 4. Count Dooku versus Exar Kun. Exar Kun is a very popular character amongst EU fans, and while I do enjoy Ulic Qel-Droma more, Exar Kun is one of those characters that I can just think of numerous matches for. As such, to run down the categories, Kun takes physicality, being stronger, more sustainable, and his affinity for physical augmentation should place him as comparable, at least, to Dooku, in terms of speed. I don't see a drastic disparity between the two in regards to dueling. Kun does possess an exceedingly unorthodox style, but Dooku welcomes this sort of challenge, if his sparring matches with Grievous are any indication. Ultimately, I can see an argument being made either way. As for Force powers, Kun takes another edge, courtesy of the magnitude of his power. While I do think that Dooku could defend himself from Kun's attacks, I don't see him holding out indefinitely. The final verdict holds Kun winning through an assertive effort, with his power being the primary advantage, for an 8 out of 10 majority. Number 3. Ahsoka Tano versus Qui-Gon Jinn. Ahsoka's debut this year will feature her during her time as a Padawan, but there are a lot of potential matchups that people want to see featuring her, now that she has matured and grown in skill and power. I love Grey Jedi, so pitting two of them together just feels natural. I sometimes wonder how Ahsoka would have grown if she'd had a more mature and experienced master, such as Obi-Wan or even Qui-Gon. In regards to their skills, I see Ahsoka as more sustainable in a long-form fight, though not by a massive degree. An argument for Qui-Gon being stronger could be made, but this will not overshadow Ahsoka's greater agility. I am really uncertain about who I consider more skilled in dueling, as both have performed fantastically against opponents of similar skill. But for the decider, it is Ahsoka's better showings in regards to her use of the Force that I feel secure a place as the victor in the match, with the final majority ranging anywhere from 6 to 8 out of 10. A very solid fight indeed. And now for some honourable mentions. Darth Vader vs Darth Zana, Kar-Katarn vs Mace Windu, Darth Bane vs Exar Kun, Bigby Wolf to be used in a versus in general, and Prime Obi-Wan vs Prime Ulic, in recognition of my Old Ben vs Redeemed Ulic video. And number 1. Sam Fisher versus Agent 47. Oh boy, where do I start with these two? One of the NSA's best operatives versus the world's best assassin. Sam Fisher and 47 have some awesome skills, some cool weaponry to use, and they both have some incredible physical potential. Not only that, but they have awesome stories to boot. As for the verdict, I do have an idea on who I think would win, but I want to reacquaint myself with the Splinter Cell series first, so you guys will have to wait and see if you want to know who I think would win. But I will say that it's a great fight. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed. A special thanks to each and every person who has ever suggested a matchup for this channel. It's great to see such enthusiasm. I had a tough time picking out these matches and placing them in order, but regardless, it's fun to do and it's another way for me to interact with you guys. Anyway, I'll see you soon for something else, and until next time, may the Force be with you.